Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. Today's interview is a very special one and something that's very close to my heart. So, yesterday was the anniversary of Ricky Real's death. It's been 23 years since Auntie Sukhdev, who joins me today, who's basically been spending the last 23 years to get justice and fighting the system. We're going to find out a little bit more about the story of Ricky Real, but also, what we can do to help as a community. One, to spread the word, but also to support. So here with me today, I've got Sukhdev, Ricky Real's mum, and the lovely Ameet, Chana, as well. And we're going to speak to them about the release of a song that was released yesterday on the anniversary of Ricky Real's death. Firstly, Sat Sri Akal, thank you so much for joining me on Punjab 2000's platform. You know what, this was a very, very, very sad story. You know what, my mum and I were talking about this on our walk, and no matter how much you kind of try to get your head around it, you can't. So I'd love to hear firstly from you, Auntie, just the story around Ricky Real and what happened.
Ricky was 20-year-old student at Brunel University, and he had took a year out and was working at Open Mind Design in London. His three friends invited him to go to a party in Kingston. So they all went in a car. One of the friends had a car, so they drove to Kingston. And he said to me, "Mom, I'll be back at 1 o'clock. And Ricky, you can set your watch by him. If he said 1 o'clock, he'll be home at 5 to 1. So when he didn't come home, I started ringing his mobile, which was unfortunately switched off. I got scared. I thought, as the young boys going in the car, they may have met with an accident. So I started ringing the hospitals, giving them names and everything. And they said no accident has been reported. So I rang the police station. Nobody picked up the phone. I carried this out all throughout the night. In the morning, I phoned my local police station and I explained it to her what had happened. And she said to me, "You do realize our policies say that if a person is over the age of 18, we have to wait for 24 hours. I explained to her how important that was. My son has never gone missing before, that somebody needs to come to us to take a statement. Nobody came. I phoned again, and an officer there started shouting and screaming at me, saying I was wasting the police time because an officer had been to my house and I had not opened the door, whereas I had been sitting near the window near the door. So they sent another one in, and another officer came in, started taking the details, but he said, there's nothing I can do with these details because you will have to wait for 24 hours. And while he was there, I said, well, could you ring the university? Could you ring Ricky's friends, try to find out? But at that time, because we had been ringing Ricky's friends as well, that one of them phoned and said that they were surprised that Ricky hasn't come home because they said there was a fight in Kingston. They were walking on their way towards they had parked the car near the river. And they were walking towards the nightclub, whereas they were set upon by some white youths who were saying, "Packies, go home." One of the boy was hit and his turban came off. And so Ricky, as always, said, not interested. And he walked away. And you can see him on the CCTV as he normally walks, hands in his pockets and walking away. So the three friends thought he had come home because he said he wasn't going to go to the nightclub and he was going to come home. And they were a bit surprised. So we said, "Could you please come to us and we'll all go to Kingston Police Station because that's where the incident happened." So the boys were with us, and my husband and my brother went to the police station in Kingston. And we said, "Well, our son's missing. Could you take a statement?" And they refused to do that, stating the same policy. And we expressed to them how worried we were. And the officer at the Kingston police station said, "You never know, your son may have run away with a girlfriend, or you may have been arranging arranged marriage, which your son doesn't like, and he's run away." Then he winked at us and said, "You never know, your son may be gay, and he's run away." So knowing that there was nothing we could do, we came back and we went to Kingston, to Uxbridge police station. And they said, well, it's the Kingston matter. But we kept on ringing, and during the night as well, they told us that we are packing up the the search because we have run out of resources. So I phoned my MP at midnight and told him that, and the MP phoned the police and they told him, no, we will resume it. So this was the play all throughout the week. We knew we were not getting any assistance from them because they were stereotyping from day one, because we are working Asian family. So we were printing posters. We had lots of people, lots of friends, lots of supporters going around in Kingston, handing out leaflets. And there were really unsafe buildings we climbed into to see if Ricky was lying there. We were jumping into late night buses and saying, have you seen this young man? So there wasn't anywhere we didn't search. The only thing we didn't go into was the water. So we searched everywhere. And we did not see any police officers searching the sites, but we were doing. And we were leafleting there. So this carried on for a week. And then I went out on the 21st of October again looking for Ricky. And every time I went out, I told my children I was going to bring their brother back with me. So don't worry, I'm bringing him back. So I went out with Suresh from the monitoring group and other people. And on the way there, they said, to Suresh that to take me to his office. So we went there and we thought that maybe they have news that they found Ricky in a hospital or something. And I phoned home and they said to my children, look, I'm going to come home. And my daughter said to me, there's a police officer outside. Can I open the door? I said yes, because we were expecting a police officer to come to us to take the shirt that Ricky was wearing, the color, to match it. And because they said they were going to do leafleting or whatever. So I said, open the door. I said, let her in. While she was in my house, the phone went dead. I tried it so many times, the phone was dead. And then the officer told us that, came in to the office and said that they found Ricky's body at the bottom of the river. I don't remember much because I collapsed, I fell. And when I came around, all I wanted was to go home to my children. And when I went home, my children met me at the door, and one look on their faces told me that they knew. So when I went inside, my children said to me, Mom, why were you not with us? Why did the police have to tell us? So the youngest was only 11. His parents were there. His parents were out of the house. They had no right to do that. They said to my children, we have found your brother's body from the bottom of the river. My daughter, who was 16 or 17 at the time, had an asthma attack, and she stood up. She said to me, she said, Mom, I'm waiting like this to get the police's attention. There were 2 police officers in my house. She was trying to get their attention so somebody could go upstairs and get an inhaler because she couldn't breathe. Nobody did. And she just crawled on the stairs like a dog to get the inhaler from the upstairs bedroom. And my 11-year-old son, he just went into a shock. When I came home, he was like a rock. Couldn't do anything, couldn't speak. While the 2 police officers stood in my house joking and talking about things I don't know. So I just told them to leave my house. And I said, just go, let me deal with all this mess, because they created this mess. My daughter could have died that day. And my son could have had permanent damage to his brain or something. Anyway, so we continued searching for our son. Then they brought in somebody as a consultant. And he said, well, he'll stay over. And then he went on leave. Then somebody else came in. Our house was like an open house. People coming, going. Half the time, we didn't know who these people were. And people heard about the case. And they wanted to really come in and say, well, what mess has the police created here? Why are they doing this to you? And my answer was clear. Look at the color of my skin. And as a result, they are treating us like that. So we went to a solicitor, and she told us that the only way for the police to respond is to make a complaint against them, which we did. And we also asked them to do a postmortem, because the police were doing a postmortem and we didn't trust them after what they have done to us, because a phone was tapped, we could hear it. And later on, I'll tell you what we discovered. Anyway, to cut the story short, this went on, and then they investigated, and then because he made a complaint, they brought in another force from another county to investigate them. But they are saying, no, we will let Surrey investigate Matt, because Matt is also already investigating, so they refused that as well. And then they compiled, after the investigation, there was a report from they compiled it with Police Complaints Authority and everything. Sorry, I'm rushing. And which found quite a lot of flaws, and quite a lot of officers were demonished, and the head of the investigation was demonished as well, who had left the force. So this is where we are. And then we went to court for an inquest, and Mike Mansfield was the person who did our inquest, and there were dirty games there as well. They won't let my brother, who is the chairman of the Justice for Ricky campaign, into the court. They won't let Suresh, who has been dealing with the case, inside the court. They wanted us to be separated from them. They wanted me not to receive any support. They wanted me to sit on my own and go through the 7-day inquest, hearing what happened to my son, hearing what they did to him. And on top of that, I had a phone call from one of the reporters saying the police officer who was the head of the investigation had retired, and he had contacted them, and he said he has photographs of Ricky during the post-mortem where they had to remove the skin to see, because he had blunt impact injuries on his back, and to see what those injuries were. And she said he had told her to print the article showing the photographs of my son like that. And as soon as I got the phone call, I just opened the window and I tried to jump out of the window. I just couldn't bear the public seeing this. So Suresh got in touch with the police, and then they said, well, we're not going to do it anymore. But this was the play from day one. And then we discovered the police did not carry out any forensic examination of the site where Ricky entered the river. There was no CCTV. The family, us, discovered so many cameras, which we told them, and they got it. The vital camera, the camera that was placed where Ricky and the friends were, they seized it, put it in the locker, did not view it, destroyed it. They returned the clothes to me without carrying any forensic tests. There was a tear on the shirt, on a brand new shirt he wore that day, and the tear matches the blunt impact injuries on his back. They returned it to me when I pointed out, I washed it, when I pointed out the mistakes to them, showed them this, they accused me of damaging my son's clothes. I had not seen the report. I did not know where the impact injuries were, but the tear on the shirt were matching that. And they said there were known racist, I call them thugs, in the area, and they didn't approach them. And during the inquest, the head of the investigation at that time stood up in court and told the judge that, in her opinion, it's an accident. But the jury returned the open verdict. So we are still campaigning, still doing what we are doing. And the Ameet did the crime watch, and that was even, it wasn't the police who did it. It was the family, supporters, and Ameet took the part in the crime watch. Everything that happened, investigation, everything that happened with the case, the family did it. And when the witnesses came to the court, each and every witness told the judge, the police did not find us, the family did. So we knew that, they lost all the evidence, where the hell this case is going to. And then a few years later, I was called to my MP's office with Suresh and everybody, and the police said, we got some news for you. So we stood there, and then they said, oh, by the way, you came under our radar, and they were spying on me. And the news was such a shock that I almost passed out there as well. And now we understand why the investigation wasn't carried out properly, why when we were telling them to do this, to do that, wasn't done, because the money that was supposed to be spent on carrying out inquiries into Ricky's case was spent on spying on me. So I am not giving up, but the pressure is being put on from everywhere to give it up. But I am not giving up. So the case is, well, the case is open. Don't worry, Mrs. Real, it's open. But I have to go out and find people, find witnesses, find anybody who could give me information about my son's murder. That's where we are. Are we supposed to go to court now? Either next year or with COVID and everything, nobody's sure about the days the day after. I was talking to my lawyer today as well about the opening statements, which are going to be read next week, I think. And as to why this spying took place, people, like I said, our door was always open and people were coming in and out. And people I thought were friends, people I thought were supporters, some of them are undercover officers who were paid to spy on me. Because we will not go away, because we kept on asking questions, because we kept on pointing to their mistakes. And the perception of the police was very clear. This is an Asian woman. Asian women do not question the police. I was told that repeatedly. Asian women do not question the police. Mrs. Reed, why don't you go to work? Why don't you, cook something nice for your family? I took 6 months of work and I traveled the country up and down, up to Scotland, as far as God knows where. I can't even remember the places I've traveled. And three or four meetings in a day, talking at big conferences everywhere. And Ricky's case is well known. But I think it's important for anybody hearing this, that if anything happens to them, not to give up. If we stand up and say to the police, look, we want answers. We need to be counted. We need justice. You need to give us justice. We need that. But they told us, who said, with all your efforts you have put in, we have changed our missing persons guidelines. So they are new Ricky Rio missing persons guidelines, which means that each and every case will be dealt with individually, not on the age basis. It will be dealt with. We looked at the vulnerability of the case.
Auntie, I just want to say, right, listening to you, I'm honestly, do you know what? This is really heartbreaking. It's really sad, yeah? But, listening to you, can I just say that you're one strong lady? You really are. And do you know what? Honestly, I feel myself, yeah, like just listening to your story has really touched my heart, right? And I'll tell you one thing, don't give up.
I'm never going to give up.
Yeah,
I'm never going to give up.
We're going to support you, right? This is the whole reason why I wanted to do this, is because I want to help in every way that I can. We're behind you and we're going to help. And, I can't even imagine what you've gone through. I really can't imagine. But what I can say is that, you're an inspiration to many people. And I know you're not going to give up. And you know what? There is God out there who's looking after you. He's going to help, definitely. And we're going to get justice, because we're going to all be behind you to make sure that we push this forward. So thank you, firstly, for sharing your story. And it must have been really difficult. The number of times you've had to talk about it, the number of times you've had to relive that. So I want to make this about you. Don't worry about rushing. This time is for you and Ameet to tell us what we can do, right, to help support. Because I promise you, I will do everything that I can to share this far and wide, honestly, because we are 100% behind you, yeah? But honestly, Auntie, I salute you. I really do. I've got a lump in my throat because I think it's really sad. Like, it's really, really sad to hear you.
I know.
20 years fighting for justice.
Yeah, justice. People, I don't know. I haven't heard of any black cases where they have managed to get justice. I mean, I was watching the news yesterday. This was interesting. I was telling my daughter-in-law, Ameet has met her. And I was telling her, because yesterday in the news, they were talking about these 3 black girls who were racially attacked by some white youths. And the words the police used were the words that were said to us 23 years ago. And it made me wonder whether they've got a piece of paper with the same words written for each and every family. But we were told that lessons have been learned. And we've learned lessons, and we will change. Nothing has changed. And in our case, where Sir Meeting is heading the spying case, and he refused to meet. He's one of those people who doesn't want to interact with anyone except people like lawyers and all this. And I said to him, through my lawyers, that I want to meet him and I want to ask him the question, why did they spy on me? I was no threat to this country or to the security. I was doing what I was supposed to do, and I only was campaigning because the police did not do their job properly. If they had done their job, there was no need for me to set up the campaign and travel hundreds and hundreds of miles, spending lots and lots of money on trying to seek justice for it. I have paid for 23 years with my health, covering their mistakes or covering the truth that they have made mistakes. Yeah, and being repeatedly told, do what Asian women do, look after your children. So when we wrote to submitting, he refused. Then my lawyer wrote it again, and we were the first people, we were the first family in the country to meet submitting. And I explained to him, I talked to him about everything, and I gave some sort of saying, yes, I met Mrs. Real, and she showed me so much. And on the second part of the Lawrence inquiry, I attended lots of meetings with Mr. Lawrence, and we spoke at same meetings with him. And during the inquiry, when the boys came in and everything, I was there. And then they set up the second part of the inquiry where they were listening from the families. And I remember clearly, I went to Greenwood Hall where it was packed with journalists. And Mr. Stone was there, who later became a friend. He was part of the panel as well. And they refused. The judge said, I'm not going to listen to you simply because your case hasn't been decided yet. And I just turned around and I said, well, that's it. The room's full of journalists. I've got my chance. I said, I'm going to step on that table and I'm going to start shouting, telling people about my case. Either you hear it or it's going to go that way. So he decided to say, he said, all right, come up. We listen to your case. I'm just showing you examples. I'm not giving up. Yeah. And as to, me, it doesn't matter. My life was gone. The day Ricky died, I died with him. So it doesn't matter what happens to me. I'll just carry on fighting. Because I remember when I carried his coffin on my shoulder, I said to him, I put my life, my happiness, my tears in there. And I promise you justice. And I will try everything in my power to get you justice. And that's what I'm doing. And I hope to God I get justice while I'm alive.
Auntie, you will. You know what? You definitely will. I can tell you that now. Do you know what? Good things do come to those for people like you who fight and will never give up. And I know you shouldn't. That's why we're here, to help support. And just so you know, there's lots of comments that have come through. Tell us what we can do to help. It's really heartbreaking to hear that even after 23 years, a mother in the UK is still seeking justice for her son. Kirani has said, please support and share this live interview. We can be the change we wish to see in the world. Definitely we can be the change. It's really heartbreaking to hear this. Please share. We need support and justice. So sad, yet so frustrating, this injustice. The police failed you badly. So all of these comments are coming in from people who are listening. And to everyone that has tuned in, please, can you share this far and wide to everyone that you know, and even to people in Punjab who actually do tune in. Please, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੀ share ਕਰਿਓ ਸਾਰੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ. Let's get the support. ਇਕੱਠੇ ਰਲ ਮਿਲ ਕੇ. Let's help Auntie to get that justice, because it's not just justice for Auntie, it's justice for us. Yeah, we are family. We're a unit. Let's help one another. And Ameet, I want to go bring you into this as well to find out, how and why you got involved as well. If you could share that with me, please.
Well, thanks for having us tonight, Marie. It's a real pleasure to be here, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to kind of use the platform to spread this message far and wide. My involvement is multi-layered, to be honest. Like Auntie mentioned, some 23 years ago, I was asked as an actor through my agent to come and be part of an official reconstruction for Crime Watch about a case of a young boy called Ricky Real who went missing and whose body was found in the Thames in Kingston, you know. And at that time, that's all I really knew about it. All I knew is he was roughly the same age as me. I think I'm probably 2 years older than him. And I went along. Tommy Nagra, who is now the head of like Children in Need at the BBC, it was his first produced film for the BBC. I was there with a bunch of other young Asian actors, and for a couple of days we shot this radio construction around Kingston. And over those 48 hours or so that we shot that, I learned so much. I mean, much more than I even learned through the news, to be honest, because I was there and they had research material and we were asking questions while we were filming it. It's more than the news had ever given us at that time. So that was one reason. Because of that whole reconstruction, I then got involved in kind of learning more about the loss of Ricky's life through a racist attack. I then got involved with Auntie's campaign. We did a huge kind of press conference thing at Kingston University where we put on a little show, like a concert of other artists. Then we went into East London and we had people like Asian Dub Foundation and Sanjay Sanj, Executive and Bad Company, myself, Rishi was there, Taz, Stereo Nation. There was a whole host of us that kind of put on this kind of awareness concert, basically, of artists around that time. And that was, again, some maybe 18 years ago or something like that. It was about 3 or 4 years into the inquiry, just to help raise awareness. And now here we are 23 years later, you know, kind of, it's really strange though, because I'd say Rishi got in touch with me about, many of you will know me and Rishi grew up together. We went to school together. You know, we've lived parallel lives in somewhat of a kind of entertainment business. And he got in touch with me about 5 or 6 months ago, maybe not even that much. And he said, listen, you remember the Ricky Real case? And I was like, yeah, of course I do. And we were heavily involved with trying to raise awareness for it. And he said, well, I've been speaking to Auntie over the years and we've kept in touch and I've kept updated with what's going on and if there's anything that we can do. And, you know, Auntie finally reached out to me and said that she's spoken to a number of artists from the Asian music scene who said that they would definitely do something, but never got around to it for whatever reason. This is not about being judgmental. This is just about taking action. And Rishi said, I've now stepped up and said, you know what, Auntie, we're going to do this. And then he got on the phone to me straight away with Kirani's involvement as well. And he said, what do you think? And I was like, bro, I don't think, I do. Let's do it. Let's just do it. You tell me, you're the creative vision. What do you want me to do? And he goes, I don't know. I goes, maybe you could write some of the verses. Maybe you could perform them. And I was like, look, I haven't sung or rapped on a track for more than 20 odd years, you know. And he was like, it's all right, man. It's like a bicycle. Once you've done it once, it comes back to you. And I was so inspired, more importantly, actually, by Auntie sending myself, Kiran and Rishi, all the poetry that she'd written over the last 20 plus years. And I was reading through it one night. And as I was reading it, the words were just coming to me by themselves, you know. And I was like, these are words, A, that shouldn't go unheard. And B, I can use what has come from the mother's heart, her actual feelings and her emotions about this and turn that into some kind of spoken word. You know, I could have gone hard, heavy and written 16 bars of kind of on beat stuff. And I was like, no, I want people to hear these words. I don't want people to lose what is being said from this poetry. So we decided to make it spoken word, sort of over the beat as opposed to the beat. And then it just, you know, like you said, man, you know, these things find their own path. It all just kind of fell into place. The synergy between Auntie, myself, Rishi and Kirani, and then the brilliant Raj Guy from Media Moguls, who I know has arranged, you know, so much great stuff for us to help kind of spread the word and reignite the awareness of this case and this injustice. You know, it literally, I can't even think back to when I wrote this, to when we shot the video, to when Rishi sent me the finished track, to when Kirani wrote the hook, to now, you know, 24 hours ago, the song coming out and doing what hopefully we hope it does. And that is to reignite the awareness of the injustice of, you know, of course, to Ricky and his family and Auntie, but also to the kind of injustices that have been dealt out to people of color for years and years and endlessly. Other people are in this situation. We want to give them the empowerment and the message and the drive that Auntie had. We want them to be empowered by her message and her plight.
And can I just say, I listened to it myself, and now it makes sense actually, because I felt that just listening to the words, it's so touching, and it is so like you can't listen to that and not feel tearful. Honestly, you're so touching and really warm, you know what, so many people have commented on that saying brilliant work, Ameet, Chana, you know, absolutely heartbreaking. My heart prayers go out to Ricky's mum, and can't praise you guys enough. And do you know what, that is it, we can't praise you guys enough.
It's
Listening
not
to
about
what you did it.
it's really appreciated, and it's really not about the praise. I just want to go back slightly because Auntie said,
Yeah,
you know, she's not a threat, and Auntie, you are a threat. You're a certain aged Asian woman of color with a voice, and that's what makes you a threat, and that's what they're scared of. People have never seen that before, they've never heard it before, you know, and it happens. Anyone, the select few like yourself are a threat, and I think that's the reason why, you know, ultimately there's these kind of accusations of things of you being involved with it or spying on you and all that kind of stuff. It's there because they're fearful. They don't know the power that you have, and it's evident through your voice. I've heard this story for 23 years, on and off with different versions, with new information, and some things that Auntie's revealed to us that we haven't even told anyone yet. You know, and each time it gets me, and it gets me because it's so passionate and it's so from the heart, and it's not. And I know, Auntie, I know you lost a son, but you've gained so many sons and daughters in all of us. So we'll continue. We'll continue to fight your fight.
People. You four special people. I started writing poetry when I was very young, but that was just rubbish stuff anyway. And but when Ricky died, I used to go and search for him and come back and then write. And it was like a story I was telling him as to what I was doing. But when I found him, that was the day that the floods, I think I cried so much, but then I said to myself, I can't do that. I can't keep on crying in front of people. So it was like I attended lots of meetings and everything, and people used to say, you're strong. But I wasn't, because I started wearing a mask on my face. The expression stay straight, because I needed to show the authorities that I'm here and I've taken you on board and I'm going to fight till the end, till you tell me what happened to my son. And I think in between, obviously I can't talk about it because I'm bound by the restriction order by the court. And in between the lines, I can tell you that they were saying that our campaign was getting too big. And they were scared as to what he may do. I was approached by somebody very high up, and I won't name him, but really high up. And he was also not directly involved, but brought in, oversee the case. And he said to me, he invited me, he said, I want to write a book about himself. And he said, but part of me is going to be this as well. So he said, I want to ask you one question. And he said, why is it that when you go to meetings, when you speak at meetings, there are so many people? And it's just like people come to me. And I just told him, I said, well, I can't give you an answer. I said, take Ricky's photo out, look into his eyes, look at the innocence in those eyes. I said, you'll get your answer. So I think that's what they were scared of, because the campaign was getting really strong. There were strong people in our campaign. There were really political activists in our campaign as well. But we have always said that us voters, if like we had marches going in Kingston, candlelight vigils and different things. We used to have memorial lecture, one lecture every year at Kingston Guildhall, and we had great speakers there. And I think for them, it was like, why doesn't this woman go away? Why is she doing this? So it was just, the spying is a result of that. And I think it was to frighten me as well. But what makes me really sad is the people who pretended to be supported, people who pretended to be friends turned out to be police spying officers. So who do you trust? Yeah, who do you trust?
No, and Auntie, some of the questions coming through is this. So one of the questions from Ash Nanda is, what about writing to our local MPs? What would you like to say around that?
Well, my MP, Mr. John McDonnell, is very, very heavily involved in this case. He knew Ricky, and also he on the 15th, I phoned him, and he was there straight away here in my house. And then when during the midnight, when the police stopped the search, saying we haven't got the resources to carry out the search, I phoned him at midnight, and he phoned the police. He's been with me. He's lent his shoulder to me so many times, and he will do anything I ask. I've got a brilliant MP, but people should write to their own MPs as well to put pressure on the police to reopen the case, simply because the technology has changed. For example, there was a car. I don't know whether I'm supposed to talk about it or not, but there was a car in Wood Street. Now that street is pedestrianised. If you go to Kingston, you will see it. There's no reason why a car can go there. There was a car there. Boot was open. I asked the police to investigate. Oh no, we haven't got the technology to enhance the photo. That was the answer. So So technology has changed. They should reopen the case. They should look at all the evidence. And they have been people come in and said we were there. We heard about it. But there are also accusations that some of the I'm not saying this, but people are saying it to me, that some of the officers are involved in this as well as a cover-up.
I mean, all of that is a possibility, and I think this is exactly what Auntie just touched on. We live in a modern technology world. 23 years ago, although Auntie mentioned a mobile phone, we didn't have things like phones being able to be tracked. We didn't have GPS. We didn't have the ability to kind of log into your Facebook and find where your friend is, or find a phone on your, on your smartphone. And I think this is another reason why people like myself and Rishi and Kirini and Raj have got involved, because years later, we now have digital platforms and access to numbers of people that we didn't have at those times. Because we happen to be who we are and what we do, we have access to people that many people wouldn't have. And that's another reason why we wanted to kind of be able to expose this to those people that may not be aware 23 years later of this case. Now, actually, funny enough, you mentioned the Member of Parliament just now. I spoke to a very dear friend of mine. I won't take her name, but she's heavily involved in local politics. And she opened my eyes to something today. She said, if you get a Member of Parliament letterheaded signed piece of paper from your local Member of Parliament to the Prime Minister, if you can open up a petition on the .gov.uk website and you get 10,000 signatures, that then goes to Prime Minister's questions. If you get 100,000 signatures, it has to be debated in Parliament. I've got a question for you, Mani. The fact is, Punjab 2000 P2K has had more than 100,000 people watch videos on it and things like that. But if we ask each and every one of them to sign the petition to make it 100,000 people to be able to take it to Parliament and be debated for the case to be reopened, will they sign it? Rishi put out a post today earlier, when one of the artists in our industry is putting out a brand new single, everyone's sharing it. We've put out a really important song to raise the awareness of a young man who lost his life 23 years ago. And I can probably count on my one hand how many of those same artists have shared it on social media. Do you know what I mean? And this is the question that we need to ask of our community and of our people. Why is it then when XYZ has got a massive single out, they go out and share it in amongst the artists because they want to be seen to be championing them. But the minute that there's a worthy cause or something to get involved in, they turn a blind eye. Rishi's a prime example. 2 weeks ago, Rishi released a brand new single with Kirini and Jay Sean, with him singing Punjabi, and that's hit millions overnight. We released a song yesterday with a video, and it's barely hit 3,000 views. Where is the support? Where is the community? Where are the people in our industry to be able to back this? They're not showing their faces. They're not giving us those. And that's the thing. And I think we need to ask people who support people like Punjab 2000, who follow and subscribe YouTube channels across the board, to get involved. We set up this petition tomorrow, but will they sign it? That's the question.
Well,
Yeah. Sorry.
no, I was going to say, I personally, I will make sure that I champion that and take that forward. I have had comments come through with people saying, look, please send it around, send the petition around, we will pass it around, we will sign it. So you're right, you know, you're 100% right. Where is that support from the community? Because yeah, we could easily reach way more than 100,000, right? Let's face it, of
Easily.
course we can. Because all it takes is for us to basically sign it and pass it around. I will make sure that I champion that. And I
Thank
also,
you. Thank
I
you.
also, Auntie, I'm a freelance journalist at the BBC and Sky. So it won't just be Punjab 2000. I will take it as far as I can for you. And I promise you that, seriously, because I'm 100% behind. Everyone
Thank
that's
you.
tuned in is. But Ameet, you're right. I totally get it. When it comes to a new song or it comes to someone who's releasing, like, and this whole celebrity thing, yeah, is just so sugar coated that we'll share that. That will be. But when it's something like this as a community story, why do we not come together? So I'm
I
on the
think,
same page as you, get
sorry.
it.
Yeah, I think I've got the answer. First of all, the perception of, I mean, doing this for 23 years, seeing people's reactions and everything, I can count it on one hand. First of all, they think it's not a problem. Yeah, we come inside the house, close the door. It's not a problem. Why do we need to get involved? Second thing, I think people's brains, and that's the reason the police treat us the way they have done it to me. The reason is that we have been taught not to question the police. And that's what was the response from the police. Asian women do not stand up. Yeah? So what we are saying is, oh, we are frightened of the police. We don't want to get involved. We don't want to do this. We don't want to do that. It's somebody else's problem. Why do we need to take that on board until it happens to them? Then those same people will go out begging for support. My door is always open. And I've had people ringing me, people speaking to me. My door is always open. Anybody wants any help? Yes, please do phone me. My phone's on my Facebook. Ring me. Any way I can help, I'll do that. Yeah. So, but I don't know what people are frightened of.
Auntie, tell us right now, like, what would you say to those that have tuned in? And I know you've probably said this a number of occasions. You know, I feel really bad asking you, but that's the only way that we're going to get that message across, right? What would you like to say to everyone that's tuned in? But obviously, once this interview finishes, we're going to share it. What is your message? What would you say to everyone right now and beyond? What would you like to say to them? How can they help?
Well, yeah, first of all, I want to say any information you have, anything you hear, please let us know. You may think there is nothing, but it may be something big for us. If anybody passes any information, it may help me get justice for my son. Obviously, Ricky's not going to come back, but at least he can rest in peace and I can get on with my life. At the moment, my life, well, I haven't got it. It stands still. So I need to carry on as well. I need to be a mother to my other children as well. Yeah, I've pushed everything in the background and I have concentrated on this case. So I want to be mom again. I want to be a grandmother again. So I'm saying to people, any little information, please do give it to someone, to the police, or if you don't want to give it to the police, my number is on my Facebook. Please ring me, ring Ameet, ring Rishi, ring Kiran, ring Raj. And these are the 4 wonderful people, the courageous people I know who have taken that on board. They are not frightened. Yeah, they've taken a mother's plight to the very, higher up. So, I can't thank them enough. Yeah. So people listening there, please help us find, justice for my son. Sign petitions and, don't just close the door. I've lost my son. I would not wish this pain, this anguish on somebody else. But if we don't speak up now, if we do not stand up for this now, it would be somebody else's son or daughter lying on the ground. We don't want this.
The injustices will continue, and that's the thing.
The
injustice. I also, I mean, I won't look. I'm not going to mention their names. This is not about pointing fingers, but actually, Ricky had 3 friends with him that night.
Yeah.
And for a little while, they were assisting, they were helping out, and for some reason, none of us know why, they kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
And it might have been for their own protection. It might have been for their own identity. I don't know what it is. We don't have the answers. But if any of those 3 boys get to watch this, I'm sure that they're fans of Bhangra music. I'm sure that they're fans of Bollywood. All of these interviews, if any of you boys are out there and you've grown up now, you're in your 40s, you might have had a change of heart. If you can get in touch with Auntie, forget the police, forget anyone. If you can get in touch with Auntie and give us any information that we do not know of that night, you will help change the course of this inquiry.
They will, because they probably, they probably have their own children now, you know, and they must have some feelings towards what happened to Ricky, to sort of say, look, you know, this mother has lost a son. What will happen to me if I lose mine? How would I feel? You know, and people in the community, please open your eyes, open your, you know, minds, and open your ears. Listen to me and help me get justice, because, you know, you're doing me a favor, but you're doing the whole world a favor, because every day cases are coming forward. Somebody's child has died, somebody's daughter has died, somebody else has been, you know, robbed or killed or whatever. So this will continue. But if we all get together, work together, and find clues which will get me justice for my son, we are all equal. Yeah. And racism is an ugly word. And whenever, like I said it before, whenever it rears its ugly head, it always leaves destruction. It leaves behind mothers like me. Yeah? And nobody wants to be in my situation. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. So that's why I'm asking people, please, you know, sign petitions. Anything you can do to help me, please do that. I don't want to live another, you know, to come back in another 23 years talking about the same thing. You know, we need to move on. We need to do things like normal people, but we are not doing that simply because all my energy is spent on Ricky's case, trying to get him justice, because I promised him justice and I need to deliver that justice, because I'm not at peace. I can't sleep. I can't eat. I can't do anything. I need to get justice for him.
I'll tell you what we're going to do, Marie. I'm going to speak to Raj straight after this from Media Moguls, and we're going to go online and we're going to create that petition. And if we can get 10,000, and if we can get 100,000, it will change the course of this case and this injustice. And Raj, I know you're listening, mate. Let's get that done, and we'll put it out there. People have the weekend to think about it. We'll put it out, Punjab 2000, whoever it is that we can contact and get those signatures. And I think that is the one big thing that is going to make the difference.
Definitely, because I've had lots of comments coming through. So like loads of people have sent lots of comments. If I can just read, some of them is about the petition, sign the petition. You know, a lot of people are asking about that. But there's a really lovely message that has come through from Anjana Rahaja. The most courageous woman I know. My son is the same age as Ricky was when he was killed. This is a mother's worst nightmare. Auntie is so brave. We all need to take a leaf out of her book and make sure her story is heard and she gets justice and a sense of peace. Totally back that. You know, let me know how I can help. People have said, Ameet, we will sign the petition. Please share it. Like lots of it is around the petition. Rishi has just said, you know, we support all new films and songs. Let's support our mother 100%, you know, and lots of well done's and lots of how can we support. So, you know what, it has hit home for many people, because I can tell you now, lots of people have tuned in and lots of people are commenting. You know, before we've got about 10 minutes and I want to obviously, before we wrap up, I just want to know, Ameet, from you really quickly, you know, we spoke a little bit about, you said about about the MPs and also people in the community. Just a thought, but we have 2 Sikh MPs. Why? What are they doing about it, or have they not been approached? Because we didn't have that then, right?
No, I did. I went to House of Parliament, been there very many times. I've even received a Woman of Courage award from Sherry Blair, and or what she calls a Woman of Courage, a Woman of Substance award. And, you know, anyway, and been to House of Commons and met all the MPs. At that time, it was Jack Straw. At that time, it was Paul Condom. You name it, I've met them. You name it, I've been everywhere. Yeah. So, sorry, what was the question?
Oh, about the 2, we've got 2 Sikh MPs now, which we didn't have.
I went to, I don't know by now, but I'm telling you, a few years ago, I went to the House of Commons. It was a Vasaki party, and John McDonnell has invited me in there. And there were 2 Sikh MPs there, and I went to one of them, and I said, look, you know, Ricky says I never say was. Ricky is a sick boy. And what can you do to help me? He said to me, I'm too busy with my own constituency. You go to your MP. Yeah.
See that?
You know what
And
it is
then
as
there is
well, Marie,
another
I'll tell
one.
you.
Then there is another one. There are two, right? I'm sorry, but I have to say this.
No, of course.
And the other one was, I have seen, I've seen him many times. I have mentioned my case very many times. And he met my husband, and my husband said to him, he said, "Oh, Mr. So-and-so, what can you do to help?" And he said to me, "Well, your wife never said anything to me." My husband said, "My wife did discuss the case with you." He said, "No, she hasn't." And then the other one, yeah, Mrs. Real, good. How are you? Good. That's it. So,
Also, the other thing is, one would presume that with Ricky's background being Sikh, that would be a bonus. But actually, you know what? This is not about being Sikh. It's about a community across the board.
it is.
It's about everyone from all backgrounds, any politician of any color, of any stance, of any kind of standing within the parliament would be of use to this and to many cases. It doesn't matter what their background is. We just need their support.
Yeah, no, I get that. I totally get that. I just thought, do you know what? In terms of us as a community, if we've got people in positions of power, you would think that you could go to them, right? That's that. Do you know what I'm trying to say? That's what my question was. That why?
Yeah,
why
no, I agree.
But
I agree.
But I get it. But in terms of going forward now, what are the next steps, and what are you going to do now going forward? From here today, what is the plan?
From here today, I hope that there is public pressure for the police to reopen the case. And, like I said, mentioned before about new technology and everything. Let's see what else do we come up with. Maybe people will, say things which may be the new lines of inquiry. And the second thing is, the thing I dread is I have to appear in court and be questioned by the police again about the spying scandal. And that's going to be difficult days for us as well. But I'm going there to find out who gave them permission to spy on me and my family. Why did they do it? I wasn't doing anything wrong. So why did they spy on me? So this is still a long way to go. The road up is very hilly, and I need a lot of energy to climb that.
We've got you. Don't worry. We'll give you all the energy we've got.
Totally. And Ameet, tell me a little bit just in terms of, for those that have joined, once again, just regarding the song release, and how people can get that, and just any contact details, please.
So it's important. Yeah, it's important to realize the reason why myself, Rishi, and Kirani came together to do the song is because, like I said, we now have in the modern day the technology and the platforms that didn't exist when Ricky's case first arose 23 years ago. Social media is an amazing medium to be able to directly get to people. So, we did it the way that we know how, and that is through music or entertainment or whatever you want to call it. And the three of us came together and did our little bit, whatever worst way we could, and put together a song and a visual that goes with that song, just to remind people, A, about the case, to reignite the awareness, but more importantly, to support a mother's plight to be able to find justice, so that not just Ricky can rest in peace, but also a mother and her family can go back to being a mother and a family, and I think that's the most important thing here. And also to empower other people who have been through the same process. We don't want this to happen to anybody else. And the more we let those bodies get away with this happening, the more it will continue to happen. So the song and the video is there in order to help reignite the fire that Auntie has and has had for the 23 years to make people aware of this case again.
I wish there were more people like Rishi, Ameet, Kiran, and Raj.
Well, hopefully there are, Auntie. Hopefully there are. There'll be people out there that are willing to support us.
If they are, I haven't come across them for a very long time.
Well, 23 years is a generation, Auntie, and hopefully we're going to hit a generation that weren't even aware of this case, that weren't even aware of this situation.
Yeah, I just, one day I was feeling very low, and I just phoned Rishi. Like I said, I knew Rishi and Ameet, and they've been supporting the campaign. And I said to him, look, he said to me, what do you do? I said, I write poetry. He said, what is your wish? I said, my wish is to have a song for Ricky. I said, he loved music. And I was always, listening to music. So I said, it's something, I want to do something for him. He said to me, leave it in my hands. And I thought, like some other artists, he's going to do the same. To my surprise, emails started flying from Ameet, from Rishi, from Kiran, from Raj, and suddenly there was a song. And I thought, am I dreaming? Is it really happening? And I told my husband, he said, are you sure? He said, you've been up and down before as well. I said, no, this is going to happen. And these 4 people have started or restarted my fight for justice. And
that's the idea. That's the idea.
And the fire that started, let's keep that burning. Let's not let it get cold. And it can only keep on burning with everybody around us. And we have to make sure that it does. So please, people, help us.
Auntie,
can I just add something as well?
Can I just say, Ameet, sorry, you guys are the dream team, man. I'm inspired by you all. If I can join that team, let me know, yeah? But honestly, hats off to you.
We're just fulfilling Auntie's dream. That's all it is. We're not the dream team.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
I wanted to just add something that I touched on a little bit earlier about Ricky's 3 friends that were with him. Can I just add as well, if you are watching this, please, let me assure you that if you want to be anonymous, your anonymity will remain. I just want you to get in touch with Auntie. You can get her mobile number from Facebook. Get in touch with her, talk to her, give her some information that might help change the course of this case. And that is my personal appeal. And it's something that me and Rishi and Kieran have been talking about. We feel like those 3 boys have got something and an insight in this case that is going to help change the course of this. And I guarantee you, if you want to be anonymous, you will remain anonymous throughout this whole process. We won't ask you to come to court. We won't ask you to do anything. Just get in touch with Auntie and tell us anything that you might have missed telling her 23 years ago that will help change the course of this case, please.
Yeah. The first few days they used to come to see us, we have always treated them as family members. So anybody that comes to
there's no judgment. We know at the time that there was probably fear of the police, fear of the court system, fear of being accused of something that you did do or didn't do. This is 23 years ago. We're all grown ups now, and I'm sure that you've got kids, and I'm sure that you wouldn't want this to happen to anybody else.
Yeah, and
I also sorry. I'm not doing this to get revenge, because revenge is not what Ricky would want. And by seeking revenge, I do not want another mother crying the same tears I'm doing it. I don't want another mother to have empty arms. That's not why I'm doing it. All I'm trying to do is to someone to tell me what happened to Ricky and why did they kill him. That's all I want. After that, nothing. I'm not saying to, I can even forgive them. Yeah, they may have done something, not thinking about it. They, with some people, they want to appear big in front of their friends. They may have done it that way. So, I don't hold grudges. I forgive them. They've done that. Yes, fine. But tell me why they did it. That's all I need to know.
And I'd like to say, just basically support that as well to everyone that is listening, that has tuned in. Please kindly, if spread the word, spread this with everyone. And if that is you, get in touch. Auntie is Sukhdev Real on Facebook. Raj has actually given his email here. Ameet, Chana, they're all on social media, but get in touch with Auntie Sukhdev Real. Please do, if that is you, because you could potentially, that could be a game changer, seriously, for the right thing, for justice, right? So just come forward. You can be kept anonymous. I don't think we can say this enough, that at the end of the day, I personally am just saying it. I don't think anyone can actually really live with themselves if you are that person and you can come forward because you can remain anonymous. There's not really much more we can really say around that, except for Auntie said, I will forgive you. So please, my binti to everybody, and this is with my hands together, asking, please, if you are that person, please come forward. Spread this interview, spread the word, support Auntie. And Auntie, the messages that have just come through now as well is we are all here for you, Auntie G. We are your children. We will fight for justice. Just let us know what we need to do. Auntie is very lucky to have the support of these guys. It's different times now. I'm sure she will get the justice she needs soon. And just, you know, this mother 100% deserves closure and peace. We need to have this closure for Auntie. Yes, we do. So, you know, if there's a final message that you would like to give, please do, Auntie and Ameet, both of you. What would be that final message that you would like to give to everyone?
I'll leave Auntie with the last final word.
I am wishing for something that's not going to happen. I want my Ricky back, but he's not coming back. I want justice for him. That's all. I just want peace. I just want to say to him, Ricky, look, I got you justice. Wherever you are, rest in peace.
And I cannot peace without justice.
Yeah, we haven't got any peace. We haven't. My whole family, we haven't got any peace. All the children. Look, when I see my kids, I feel so alone that the promises I made them that I was going to bring Ricky back, I haven't been able to do. So all I want to say to people is, please listen. Any messages, anything you hear, just let us know so we can move on.
Definitely. Auntie, we will. Do you know what? Don't think that we're going to give up. We're not going to give up. I promise you, yeah. I will do whatever I can on behalf of Punjab 2000. We will do what we can to get the petition out there, but also to get the word out there. So we're behind you. We're going to support you. You are so inspiring. Honestly,
Truly,
Auntie, seriously,
truly.
God bless you. I don't think I'm as strong as you at all, yeah? So you know
No way.
No way. But you really are inspiring, and you're inspiring us. So thank you, and thank you for speaking to me. I know it must have been very difficult, but honestly, Auntie, thank you, and thanks, Ameet. Thanks to the team, Rishi, Kiran, Raj, all of you. Thank you for giving Punjab 2000.
Pleasure. Thanks for having us.
This time, yeah, and we will spread the word. So God bless you, and we will do what we can. Take care. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Bye.
Marie. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you.